Okay, so it seems like the dust has settled and the epic crossover team up event that was the Sony Marvel team up is done. And there were some hopes and back and forths for a couple weeks there, like maybe they'll find a way to make it happen. It's done. It might happen again down the road, but for now, it sounds like Sony is perfectly content to just do their own thing, and fine. Like, Sony made some pretty good Spider-Man movies under Sam Raimi, and some not so good Spider-Man movies, but overall, it's the continuity thing, it's the team up thing that fans are the most upset about. Tom Holland's Spider-Man can't show up next to, Iron Man. Obviously, spoiler alert, Iron Man isn't showing up in any more Spider-Man movies, but the fan rage seems to be that he's not in the universe anymore. And yeah, that'll be confusing, but there's teams of great writers at both studios, and they'll figure out a way to sell it and make it make sense. You'll be like, oh wow, I can't believe how masterfully Marvel recovered from Sony's betrayal. I guarantee in like 2 years or whenever the next big team up movie comes out, that's what we're gonna be saying. Wow, Marvel did it again in spite of Sony. And yeah, they'll do great. They're gonna make some great movies. I kind of think back to like in the 90s, Marvel and DC did a crossover comic event, Marvel versus DC. And they had like the Hulk fighting Superman, and Spider-Man fighting Superboy, Batman fighting Captain America, and just like all these cool crossover battles. And then the whole thing ended with a couple of one-shot comics where the whole universe merged, and we got characters like Dark Claw, who was like Wolverine mixed with Batman, and Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and all kinds of just neat little mashups. And they were one-shots. We knew they weren't gonna last, but they were cool. And I think that's how I'm looking at the Spider-Man MCU arc. All the time that we got with Tom Holland in the MCU, what a gift that was. So they're gonna keep making good movies. They've got tons of new characters. We're gonna have Fantastic Four. We'll have, mutants. And I hope they just sit on some of those for a while. They're still working on all of these like B-list, C-list, D-list properties that they've proven very good at making good movies out of. I keep going back to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I had never heard of that comic. I'm a big fat nerd, but that's because I'm 300 plus pounds, not because I know all the nerd things. So I wasn't aware of Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew that they were making a new Marvel movie though, and I was like, so far so good, so I was interested. And they kind of blew me away. They blew everybody away. Like, wow, the talking tree and the raccoon, huh? Cool. So Eternals is coming out, Shang-Chi's coming out. Got all these shows on sorry, I keep wanting to call it Netflix. Disney Plus is coming out with a bunch of new shows. where they're going to introduce new characters. Ms. Marvel is a relatively new character. That's another thing. All of these old characters, their copyrights should have been expired years ago, but Disney, being Disney in the 90s, wanted to protect their Mickey Mouse copyright, and they actually lobbied to change the copyright laws. So they find themselves in this predicament partially by their own hand. Sony wouldn't be able to use Spider-Man, or at least wouldn't have exclusive rights to Spider-Man, if the public domain had kicked in when it was supposed to, which I think isn't yet, but was supposed to be coming up, I believe, like in a couple years. So, you know, that was Disney trying to protect the mouse, and this is what happens sometimes. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're still going to be getting great comic book movies out of Marvel Studios, and the Spider-Man movies, if they keep doing the Spider-Verse, do some more Spider-Verse movies. Those are great. The animated ones, fantastic. Tom Holland as Spider-Man in a solo Sony movie that doesn't feature any MCU characters, cool. Have it be a smaller scale. I think it'll benefit from that. We can all cool down off of Endgame. I mean, it was like this 10-year build-up leading to this epic battle with Thanos and like 500 superheroes in one movie, and it was a really cool payoff, but I am not prepared to do it again anytime soon. I'm gonna need another 10 years before I can handle a movie like that again. So no, I'm not really that bummed that Sony has Spider-Man separate from the MCU again. That's okay by me. And in the meantime, I have recently come to the conclusion that I don't need to film my entire workout. So if I run out of things to say, I'm just gonna turn the camera off and call it a day. I will give you the obligatory health update. Still holding at 340. Pretty satisfied with that. I was doing some reading, and the keto diet can stall out for a little while. I feel good. I feel good about the way I'm eating and the exercise, so I'm not too worried about the actual pounds coming off. My pants feel a little loose, so it feels like there's some changes happening, and the actual scale doesn't have to reflect that right away. I'm like less than 2 weeks in to keto, and that's already, I mean, mostly in water weight, but I've already dropped like almost 20 pounds just in the water weight part, and it stayed off. So I'm pretty stoked about just the way I'm feeling differently. I feel more energized all the time, and I feel motivated to come work out. So that's where I'm at with that. And if you are struggling, if you're stalled out on your path, whatever it is that you're going through, just keep at it. Have faith in yourself. You can do it, because it's not impossible. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, there's gonna be some roadblocks, some bumps along the way. But if I have learned anything in life, is that everybody's got the roadblocks, everybody's got bumps on their path, and the difference between people who succeed at their goals and people who basically, I don't like to use the word fail, because most of the time it's not failing so much as giving up, throwing in the towel. So that's the main difference is between success and failure, to me, is just persistence. Stick at it, and we'll get through this. So I'm gonna call that the video for today. 10 minutes. I've been on a treadmill for a little longer than that, and I'll stay on the treadmill a little longer after I turn this off. But at this point, I just feel like I'm rambling. So I'll spare you the extra 10 minutes of me rambling and call it a night. Thank you for tuning in.